Hi everyone, it's Crafty Tina's, and this is the second video using the Universal Cinch. Yesterday I did a video, I had just gotten it, just taken it out of the box, have barely played with it, and I did a video. And we did a video showing you the quarter page punches on the Universal Cinch compared to the regular cinch. This is the original with the round holes, and this is the new Universal Cinch. You can tell from the top of the machines what kind of holes they punch. The punching of the holes, the slider, and the paper stop is really the only difference in these two machines. But the Universal Cinch does a lot of different type of binding, and I don't have any yet to show you because my machine came early and I was too excited to try it out to wait. This one only does the 2-to-1 pitch binding, which means 2 holes per inch. You cannot use the 4-to-1 pitch or the 3-to-1 pitch in this machine, but you can in this one. And I have some on the way so that I can show you. Now, yesterday's video, I did a lot of complaining about this one, so I may have given it a little bit of a bad rep right from the start. One of the things I complained about was the paper stop. This one has a little stop on the side that the pages can go up against when you're punching the holes to make sure your pages are perfectly lined up to punch the holes. I was complaining that the new one doesn't have it. As I was complaining about the new one, I got called out by my husband because I kept complaining my pages aren't going to be perfect, my pages aren't going to be right. And he watches all of my YouTubes and said, you say in your YouTube videos that making a handmade craft is not supposed to be perfect. I was speechless. Anybody that knows me in person knows that if I don't have anything else to say, that is major because I always have something to say. So he's right. It's not supposed to be perfect. And I think I was overthinking this little guide. The problem is when you get anything that makes your notebooks perfect, has the perfect setup, you kind of expect everything to be perfect. But does it really need to have the paper stopper? So what we're going to do today is we are going to give it a test. I have a notebook. It's a half a page notebook. We are actually going to bind this notebook using the Universal Cinch. I have not bound anything with this yet because I was waiting on my wires, but I decided to go ahead and give this a try. We're going to use the 2-to-1 pitch wires because they will work in this machine just like this one. But I wanted to talk about half-page notebooks. Now, when I say a half-page notebook, I mean an 8.5 by 11 that you have cut in half. And now you have a 5.5 by 8.5. So 8.5 by 11 cut in half, and you have a half page. The quarter page notebook is my favorite. Quarter page means it is half this size. That is my favorite. This is my next favorite. And the reason I like this size notebook, this is one of my calendars. You can find these printouts on my Facebook page free of charge. They're PDFs. Just grab them, print them, and have fun. I like to fold my paper. This is one page. If you fold your page in half, you get a half page that you can bind. It's easier to turn, and if you're using pens that may leak through or cheaper paper, you're not going to have it leaking through to the other side. So I like half-page notebooks. This is my calendar page. I put a piece of cardstock in the middle, and this is my lined page with the area for stamped images. This is a great little journal page, and then you can stamp cute little photos or cute little images down here. Pair this with a pack of colored pencils, and the receiver can color the little images in. They can use the color pencils to keep their calendar. The calendar is totally blank, no month, year, or days. So you write it in based on when you want to start your calendar. You don't have to wait till January. You could start your calendar in October. Maybe you work for a company and your fiscal year starts in October. This was a great gift idea. I wanted to make a notebook combining these two sections, and then we are going to bind it with these gold 2-to-1 pitch bindings. This notebook is going to be the feature of another video. I'm going to dress it up. That's why I'm using the gold bindings. You're going to find out why in another video. I'm also leaving blank areas on purpose. There's no pockets. There's no little additional things that I normally put in my notebooks. If you want to know how to make these covers, they're 30-point chipboard covered in cardstock. I have multiple videos. Just because we're using a new machine doesn't mean the same principles do not apply. All the notebooks I've made with the cinch, you can make using the Universal Cinch. It's just your measurements and calculations for punching the holes are going to be different. The binding's going to be the same. How to make all the product inside of your notebook's going to be the same. It's just the calculations. So for the regular cinch, we do have this cute little log. It's telling you what size and how many holes, how to set your machine. I am doing these videos on the Universal Cinch, and as I go, I'm going to write them all down so that I can get you guys, and again, I use my half-page method, so that I can get you a log sheet for the Universal, because we have it for the cinch and we have it for the mini cinch. So let's talk about how to punch the holes for a half page. Because this is a half page, these machines only care about your side the binding's going to go on. In this case, it's going on the left side, not on the top. So this is the size of measurement we need to concentrate on, and that is the 8.5. Before I'm going to punch this pretty little notebook that I spent all this time folding paper and making the covers, we're going to use scrap paper, and I'm going to show you we have different options. So my husband made me watch a video from the manufacturer talking about these numbers. Basically, they didn't try to short us, guys. They tried to help us. But by helping us, they left everything to be standard, one size fits all. I can't function like that. So we're going to do some fun things with these measurements, but I'm going to show you what its intention was. So this is the original cinch. This is the Universal Cinch, and I have these backwards. When we're punching our holes on this one, we have two options according to my little spreadsheet. So let's stick with those two options. We can do 14 holes or we can do 16 holes. The difference is how close the holes are to the end of the paper. I like having extra. I don't like going all the way. I don't know why that's a thing with me. I just like doing it. Not to mention, you're using less wire. You could have more wire for smaller notebooks, but I like doing this. Not as much as I like doing the split wire where you're doing a section here and a section here. That's still my ultimate favorite, but I like having the wires not go all the way to the end. I think the reason is when it goes all the way to the end, it looks like a store-bought book. When it looks like a store-bought book, I'm like, I could just go to the store and buy one. I like it coming in further. In order to get this look, we had to use our slider. We took our slider to 1.5 inch so that when we punched the first hole had space. But when we were going to punch 16 holes, we pushed it all the way in and punched our paper, and there's less space there. So I wanted to test and see if we could do that same method, because I like doing it further away from the side than close to the side. I like doing that, and I want the flexibility to do that. So I wanted to see if I could do it here, and surprisingly, I don't know how I came up with it, but surprisingly, I was able to do it. I think part of it is a lot of things on my log are even numbers: 14, 16, 14, 16, 14, 16, 18, 22. There's not many odd numbers. This is basically this combining every two. So 1 here is 1 and 2. 2 here is 3 and 4, and so on. 3 is 5 and 6. So we can still get it to where we want it. We just have to know where to start. So we know how this one works. I have multiple videos, guys. Check them out. Come and see. We are going to continue comparing them, so don't worry. I just want to give more room so I can actually show you how we're going to punch our holes, and then we're going to bind it. So this machine is made. It has a slider, and you can't see the slider because of the bar. It does have a slider, and it has lines. The 0, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and 1. According to the directions and the videos I have seen, if I turned it that way, there we go. Now you can see it a little better. You're going to line this up based on how long your page is. In this case, we're doing 8.5-inch page. So we're going to take an 8.5-inch page. This is where our binding's going. It's 8.5. Because it's 8.5, we're going to put it on the half mark. We're going to push everything in, and we're going to punch. The next step is on this side over here. There's a little button. We're going to put that last large hole into that button. Now that button's a little round button. It's not the size of this. After playing with it, it's very simple. It needs to go all the way into the machine until it stops. That is lining it up perfectly for the next punch. So once I have it in there, I'm pushing it to the back because you don't want it to be out here trying to punch holes. You want it pushed to the back, pushed into the machine. Basically the same way the other one works, then you're going to punch your next holes. Now I've already punched 1 through 6. According to the manufacturer's video, you eyeball it, you look down and see which one is going to do a partial punch, and that's the one you pull. They tried to make it easier so that we don't have to do the math. Kudos to them. I would have preferred the math because I like math. Not everybody wants it, but this is more visual because you don't have these little bitty knobs. You have this great big bar. So because these two fit on my paper ends here. I'm sorry, this is the same color. This one does not. It would be punching in the middle, so I pulled it out. Now holding this straight and in, this is pulled, I punch. Open it up, take it out, and now it is even on both sides. That is the intended purpose of this machine. That is the way it's supposed to be done. This is your binding. Here's your wires. You're going to put your wires in here. You're going to cut it, and you're going to be good to go. However, this is not the way I want to bind my notebook. I want my notebook to have more space. So I had to look at this and go, how am I going to get more space over here? So I decided to be practical and experiment. I'm going to hold this up for you guys. There are lines here and there are lines on the base. I simply slid the lines out until the last line on the slider lined up to the first line on the base. Then I took my 8.5 piece and I still lined it up on that 0.5 line. It no longer has the word 0.5, but it was the third line in. So I'm going to line it up on the third line in. Make sure they're all pressed in. I'm going to punch. Now I have space here, but I need to make sure I have the exact same amount over here. So let's see if lining it up here worked out. We're going to put the last slot, we're going to put it inside our little tab here. See how loose it is? It gets pushed in. The second one, here we go. They are sturdy machines, good thing. With me, they kind of have to be. This one would have punched half of my page. So I'm going to pull that one out. Number 2 is going to get pulled out. It's only going to punch number 1. My page is all the way in and all the way back. I'm not going to try to punch it like that. And we're going to punch. We're going to open up our tab and take it out. Put this down so you can see me. And it looks like it's the exact same. If we fold it over, ta-da, it is the exact same. So now I can, with this machine, punch my holes the way I want to punch them, not necessarily the way They tell us to punch them. That's a big deal for me. I want to be a rebel. I want to do what I want to do. I want it to have the look I want. So now, when I make my spreadsheet, it's going to be a 7-hole punch out, which means we're going to pull this slider out, the last line lining up to the first line. If we punch 7 holes out, we're going to get this look. If we punch 8 holes with it in, we're going to get this look. So we are basically going to be able to do the same thing with this machine that we did with the other cinch. It's not limiting us. They actually were trying to help. At least that's what I think they were trying to do. So we are going to be able to have a cinch log for the Universal. I just have to work out some of the details to get you a few of the measurements going, and then we'll do what we did with this one. We'll just keep adding. This is on my Facebook page if you're interested in printing it out. Now, let's talk about it not having that lovely little paper guide to stop the paper. According to my husband, he is right. I keep saying crafting should not be perfect. We should be able to craft and it not be exact. So I want my notebook today to be the 7-hole. So that's what we're going to punch. My entire book is going to be the 7-hole. We're going to give it a shot without this paper guide. Because I'm punching 7 holes, I need 14 of my little double loop wire. So we're going to go ahead and get that cut. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We're going to cut it. And see, because I'm using 14, not 16, I have 7 more wires. That's plenty to make the top of a half-page book or the side of a quarter-page book. I like having leftovers. I like being able to use them. So now we have our wires. We have our book. We talked about what was in our book. I have a cover, a piece of cardstock. I have 13 months. I decided to do 13 months instead of 12 in case somebody wants to start in December. And then I have 12 pages folded in half, which gives you 24 of these pages that are lined, that has a little area here for you to use a rubber stamp. This is a PDF if you want to import an image, however you want to do it. If you want to draw personal images in here for the person, that would be an awesome gift. And then I have my back cover. This is supposed to punch 20 pages, and I tested it, and it did punch 20 pages. It kind of struggled a little bit, but it punched 20 pages. I don't like to push my limits, so we're not going to punch 20 pages. However, we are going to use this guide. And another thing is my cover and my pages are the same size. The cover seems slightly bigger only because it's got cardstock wrapped around the edges, but it is the exact same. It's a half page because I wanted to cut my chipboard into a half page and not waste any having extras or not having enough. So let's set it. We're going to set it to the out position. Not only are we going to set it to the out position, but we are going to put our paper at the 3-line mark. So I'm going to put 3rd line on here so that I can add that to my spreadsheet. Let's start with just 1. Normally, on the other cinch, I always punched these together. I'm going to see how it feels. Oh, okay. It fits in there. It fits in there like the other one. It's a little more snug than the other one, but they fit. I'm going to cry if both of these mess up, but let's try it. I like to cut my covers together, and I always do face down. So how important is that stop? Let's see. If we put them together and we push them to the 3rd line, we're going to push all of these in. Here we go. That is not working. It does not like the 2 covers. In fact, it's stuck with 2 covers. Lovely. I have always used 2 inside of my other one. Well, that didn't go as planned. Let's pull these out. It did not like punching 2 at a time. It didn't like it at all. That's okay. Let's try it with 1. You can actually give it a few, make sure it's cleaned out, make sure there's nothing in there holding it back. It like half punched, so it kind of got stuck. Let's put this back in here and see if it will actually finish it out. We're going to put it back in here, put it on the 3rd line, because we have our slider all the way out. We're going to put it on the 3rd line. All right, much better. We had this one this way, so we're going to leave this one upside down. We're going to put it on the line. And much better. So for our covers, we are going to have to do 1 at a time. That is not a deal breaker for me. I'm probably overdoing it, putting them both in the other one. So now we need to punch out 1 more. So we're going to put the little peg in the last one, and we're going to push it this way and back. We can visually see, you guys looking down, you can visually see that this one's only going to punch part. So we're going to pull that one out and punch. And now we have it exactly the way I want it. I'll put it down here in the white so you can see. So now let's take this one, and we've been punching from the side, so let's keep going. We're going to put that little tabby in there, pushing it all the way this way and all the way inside. We pulled out our 2 and we punch. Open it up and take it out. All right, guys, so we had a small snag. This is the first time I have punched the binding, so I should have done 1 at a time. I didn't. Now, we did not have the paper guide. I eyeballed this. How did we do? We actually did perfect. Let's see if we can do that same thing with a little stack of paper. Let's not try to break the machine. We're going to take, let's see how many we're going to take. 14 lightweight printer paper, 1 piece of cardstock. We're going to push this in because we are pushing all 6. We're going to take our stack and we're going to go to the 3rd line. Well, guys, that wasn't bad because you can hang on to it over here. Punch. We're going to put our little peg in, pull out number 2, punch, open up our peg, see how we did. Not too shabby. Looks pretty perfect to me. So let's do a few more. Staying with the face down theme, we're going to go to the 3rd line, pushing them all in. Put the little tabby in, pull out 2, open up the little tab. We're looking good so far. The test is going to be at the end when we line them up and see how well they did. We're going to go in to the 3rd, punch them all. We're going to put the little tabby in, push the paper this way. I have to say, when you're doing a little stack, it is easier to put that tab in than it is to do it on 1 page. We can visually see this one has to be pulled. So far, we're doing great. Last one, and then we can see if it really did line up properly. Putting it to the 3rd line, punch, and open the tab, and let's see how we did. Now remember, we did 4 different stacks, and we did not have a paper guide. Oops. Stack them all up in there nice and neat. One of them is not cooperating. There we go. Well, I do have to say that that is probably as close to perfect as we're going to get, because you're not going to, it is actually perfect. I know it's harder for you guys to see, but those holes are fully lined up. Let's see if our cover goes on as well. And it does. It's on there perfectly. And then our back. So now let's bind this, because I want to see, my theory is with these being long, this wire is going to be movable and it's going to cause the notebook to shift. I'm hoping that's not the case, but this is my first time binding with the Universal Cinch. Let's see what happens. We're going to flip it around, open it up. This binding is the 3/4 inch. So we're going to push this knob down, turn it to the little eye drop, little pointy thing here, get to the 3/4, because that's what this wire is. For binding your notebook, the very first thing you want to do is take that back one off, exactly like you're holding it, place it on top. This will ensure that the seam gets inside your book, not on the outside. Now you can hang this on the side, guys. You can, I do it by hand so much. You can hang it on the side so that you can put them in. Let's do that so that we can make sure they're all put in the order we want. My front cover, right side up. My back cover, inside up. And now we have all of them in the little holes. So, time to test it, see how we're doing. I have no way of bringing you down here, but these edges have to go against the back. If they don't go firmly against the back, your binding will not be circles, it will have a flat edge on it. You're going to bend down and look and make sure that you're binding. Another reason I like to do the 14 and not 16 holes is 14 works inside here. I don't have to do 2 presses in order to get my binding to close. So we're going to simply put this down. Well, that was a little more force than I'm used to using, maybe because it is brand new. There we go. It is not quite closed. I'm going to back this down slightly. It doesn't line totally up to the 3/4, and the other machine does that too. That has nothing to do with against this cinch. And that is perfect. This needs to go in between. It is still a little loose for my preference, but I think it was the way I was holding it while I was trying to look at the camera to make sure you guys could see what I was doing. So now we have the wire binding. When we open our book, the seam is in the back. So let's see what the theory is. Oh, well, my theory is not as bad as I thought. It's very little play, no more play than any other wire-bound book. I thought these would shift so much that the notebook would shift, but it actually isn't. Let's move this over and let's see how the book operates like it normally should. Okay, it opens very smooth, nothing getting caught, nothing. It actually opens a little bit better than all the little holes going across. Now let's see if it folds back. There's the papers. Well, I'm impressed. I actually don't mind the look. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's just because I really like this paper. It's a different look, so it's not bad. But with the dark color paper, you almost don't notice that the holes are long because your focus is on the wire. So I'm kind of a little bit more impressed today than I was yesterday. And that's the whole goal of making these videos and bringing you guys along for the ride. Sometimes you just need to know what these things are capable of, know what they're not capable of, because there are going to be limits to everything. Punching one cover at a time is not a bad thing. I'm probably overdoing it on the regular cinch, putting 2 of these in one. So far, I like this. Now, one thing I didn't show you yesterday is this comes with an accessory. This didn't mean anything to me because I already have these. This is a wire guide, and this is a little guide you can put in the back that will help you hold the wires in place while you cinch it. So it kind of holds them in there. And the reason this didn't faze me is because you can use these on the regular cinch. My husband had already made me out of plexiglass. He even put Crafty Tina's on it. He'd already made me these guides. It's much thicker and bigger, but I don't know if it has the same. Yeah, this one only goes up to 1/8. This one goes to 1/4. But you can get these online and 3D print them or laser cut them. This is the guide for the back, and this is the wire guide. This is 3/4 inch, so that means it fits in the 3/4 inch slot. These little things here indicate what size notebook will fit inside of that wire. So the 5/8 would have worked, but it would have been snug. That's why I went with the 3/4. However, over this one, and I know this sounds cheesy, but I actually prefer my homemade version. I like this version because I was able to just bring this up here and see what I like. What size ring would I like it to be? Not what it has to be or supposed to be, but me. And that was when I picked the 3/4 inch because I liked how much extra it had. So this is also another video on my Crafty Tina's YouTube. I show you how to use scraps and make this so that you can see before you even decide what binding wire you're going to use, what size you need. So I actually prefer this, but this machine does come with this. The only thing this won't show you is it won't show you what size wire this is before it's cinched. So if you have a bunch of wire laying around, you might need this. You can buy these separately too. You can make them yourself or buy them separately wherever you want. So far, this is our second video on the Universal Cinch. Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to be doing a lot more testing. We're going to try our best not to break the machine by overwhelming it, but we've got to put it to the test, guys. That's what I'm here for. Most of my videos are all about tutorials. It's going to show you how to use your equipment, how to have fun, giving you some guides so that we can make even more things. I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it so far. I can't wait for my other binding to come in because I really want to show you guys what else it could bind. All I've ever used is this double loop wire. And after a while, even though you have different colors and sizes, it kind of gets boring. So we were making really different notebooks just so we could spice it up. But now we're going to have different bindings so we can spice it up even a little more. Maybe even find some really cool things to use. I'm kind of excited. They don't come in until tomorrow. So if you subscribe, you'll know when I drop my next video. Make sure you check out my Facebook page if you want any of these half sheets or if you need my cinch guides. They're all on Facebook. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, happy crafting.